Hello, good morning, students. Today we will do chapter 4 of Honeycomb, The Ashes That Made Trees Bloom by William Elliot Griffiths. Now I want to tell you that it is a Japanese tale. In this story, it is about an honest and hard-working old couple and their dog. The neighbors are troublesome and their dog dies a sad death. The spirit of the dog gives solace and support to his master in unexpected way. So, now I want to start the story. So, all of first I want to read part 1 for you and please listen it carefully. Clear? And after that I will explain it to you. Okay, now here is the chapter, part 1, The Ashes That Made Trees Bloom. Now here I am reading this page for you. In the good old days of the Daimais, there lived an old couple whose only pet was a little dog. Having no children, they loved it as though it were a baby. The old dame made it a cushion of blue crepe, and at mealtime Miko, for that was its name, would sit on it as snug as any cat. The kind people fed the pet with tidbits of fish from their own chopsticks and all the boiled rice it wanted. Thus treated, the dumb creature loved its protectors like a being with a soul. The old man, being a rice farmer, went daily with hoe or spade into the fields, working hard from morning until old Tenta Sama had gone down behind the hills. Every day the dog followed him to work, never once harming the white heron that walked in the footsteps of the old man to pick up the worms, for the old fellow was patient and kind to everything that had life, and often turned up its sword on purpose to give food to the birds. Now I will explain to you. In the old days of Daimais means the wealthy landowners of the 19th century were called Daimas. So, in the good old days at that time means in the 19th century, there lived an old couple, old wife and husband, whose only pet was a little dog. They had an only pet and it was a dog. Having no children, the old couple had no children. They loved it as though it were a baby. So they used to love the dog as it was their own baby. The old dame made its cushion of blue crepe. Now the old lady, dame means lady. The old lady made it a cushion of blue crepe. So she made a cushion to sit for the dog of blue crepe. And at meal time, and when this time for eating, and they used to call him Miko. The dog's name was Miko, and they used to call him, for that was as it was his name, would sit on it as snug as any cat, and the dog sits on that cushion comfortably as a cat, any cat sits on the cushion. Like that, the dog also sits on the cushion. Clear to you? The kind people fed the pet with tidbits of fish. Now the old couple were very kind and generous. They were very kind. So they used to feed the dog with tidbits of fish. Tidbits mean pieces of fish with their own chopsticks. Little sticks, and the piece of meat is tied on that stick. That is chopstick. And all the boiled rice, and they used to serve him boiled rice with it. Thus treated, now the dog was treated very carefully Clear? Clear? The dog was treated very, yes, thus treated. The dog was treated like their own child. So the dumb creature loved his protectors. The dumb creatures, why it is saying he's dumb to the dog? The dumb is for the dog. Why? Because it cannot speak. Right? Like us. He cannot speak it out, or he cannot tell his feelings. So that's why it is called a dumb creature. So the writer says the dumb creature loves protectors. Who are the protectors? The old man and his wife couple. The old couple were his protectors. They used to protect him like a being with a soul. Like a being with the soul, they used to protect him, as the dog or him, as their own child. They used to protect him as their own child. The old man being a rice farmer. Now the old man was a rice farmer. He used to went daily with he went to his field with hoe or spade into the field every day, and working hard from morning till evening. So here the word is Otenta Sama. Otenta Sama means evening. It means as the sun is called. Otenta morning till Otenta Sama, as the sun is called. So Otenta Sama means sun. Sun is called. Had got down behind the hills. So he used to work from morning till evening when the sun had gone behind the hills. Every day the dog followed, and the dog used to follow his master every day. Never once harming the white heron. And they don't. The farmer don't used to harm the white herons. White heron means heron is a bird that walked in the footsteps of the old man to pick up the worms. So the herons used to come on the field to pick up the worms to feed. For the old fellow was patient, but this farmer was very patient and kind to everything in his life. So he often turned up a sawdust. So he already used to throw the seeds or sod to the birds so that they can feed themselves. Or we can say he used to feed the birds. Like sometimes we also feed the birds in the morning time. In the morning we also feed the birds. Like that the old man also feed the birds in the morning. One day the dog came running to him. Now one day what happened? The dog ran behind the farmer, putting his paws against his legs. Now it means that he is very curious to tell something. So he is putting his paws upside his legs, putting his paws against his legs, and motioning with his head to some spot behind. And he is telling with his he wants to tell something by nodding his head that the spot was behind, that there is something behind the spot. The old man at first thought that it was only playing. So the old man thought that it was just playing, and did not mind it, and he did not follow him. But the dog kept on winning and running to and fro. But the dog, what happened? The dog used to go round and round of this farmer, kept on winning and running to and fro. He was moving here and there around the farmer for some time. Then the old man followed the dog few hours away. Then he thought that something is there, so he followed the dog towards the place where the animal began to loudly scratching, and the dog started scratching there something, and he went there, thinking it was possibly a buried bone or a fish. The farmer is thinking it might be a fish or या तो ये fish होगी or a bit of fish, bone, buried bone or a fish, bit of fish. The old man stuck his hoe in the ground. So thinking this, he struck his hoe in the earth. When lo, a pile of gold gleamed before him, and then what he saw? A pile of gold gleamed before him. He saw a pile of gold. A gleam means glittered, shining gold before him. Thus, in an hour, the old couple were made rich, And so, in a little time, in an hour, the old couple were made rich. Amir ban gaye. The good souls bought a piece of land, and for that gold, they bought a piece of land. And they had a party with their friends and gave plenty of food to their poor neighbors. As for the dog, they patted him, loved him, and they nearly smothered him with kindness, and they showed kindness to him. Now, in the same village, there lived a wicked old man and his wife. Now, this couple was very kind and honest, but there was a next couple who were not kind. So, they were not kind means that they were wicked. Not a bit sensitive and kind. There was no kindness in them at all. Who had always kicked and scolded all dogs, and these old couple used to kick and scolded all the dogs at all times. Whenever they passed their house, when any dog passes through there, they used to kick him and scold him. Hearing of their neighbors' good luck, now when they heard their neighbors got the gold from the earth with the help of the dog, good luck, they coaxed the dog into their garden. They forced the dog to come into their garden. Then they persuade the dog to come to their garden and set before him bits of fish. And they kept a bit of fish before them, and other dainties and other items, tasty food also, hoping why they threw these things here. Why they threw all these things here? Hoping he would find treasure for him. So they thought that the dog will find the treasure for them also. But the dog, being afraid of the cruel pair, but the dog knows that this pair is not good. This is a cruel pair. Cruel old man and his wife were very cruel. Would neither eat nor move. So he neither eat nor he moved from the place. Then they dragged him out of the doors. Now they were very angry at this. When the dog didn't eat anything, they dragged him out of the doors, kept him out of the doors, taking a spade and hoe with them. And they took spade and hoe with them. No sooner had the dog got near a pine tree. As the dog went near the pine tree growing in the garden, there was a pine tree, a pine kaped growing in the garden. Then he began to paw and scratch the ground, and the dog started, when he saw the pine tree, he started scratching near it, as if it mightly treasure lay beneath. And they thought that there would be a treasure in it, and they felt happy. Oh, we will also get the treasure like that couple. Quick, wife, hand me the spade and hoe. The old man said to his wife, give me the spade and hoe, quick, cried the greedy old fool. That greedy old fellow asked for the spade and hoe, as he danced with joy, and he started dancing with joy. So the word is here treasure. Treasure means a place where one can find precious metal or gems or valuable items. That is treasure. Dainties means, the word here was dainties. Dainty means tasty food. Another word was coaxed. Coaxed means, I told you, persuaded. And there was gleam. Gleam means glittered. Now, next paragraph. Then the covetous old fellow. Covetous means greedy. Lalchi, greedy. Then the covetous old fellow, greedy fellow, with a spade and old crone. Crone is woman, old woman. Crone means old woman. So who is crone here? Here crone is greedy old fellow's wife. Crone. The crone means woman. With the hoe began to dig. They both, wife and husband, started digging the ground. But there was nothing but a dead kitten. But what did they find? What did they find? They found a dead kitten. मरी हुई बिल्ली का बच्चा, that is that kitten, and smell of which made them drop their tools, and the smell was so bad that they threw their tools and shut their noses like this. Furious at the dog, clear? Furious at the dog, the old man kicked and beat him to death. Now he was very angry at that dog, and they kicked the dog and beat him to death. And the old woman finished the work by nearly, and at last the old woman chopped off his head. Pieces kar dena. Chopped off as cut into pieces. Chopped off means cut into pieces. She cut off the head into the pieces with a sharp hoe and flung into the hole. Flung means threw. And she threw the pieces into the hole and heaped the earth over his carcass, and she put the mud onto that. What over his carcass means dead body, and she put mud on this, or earth, covered with earth his dead body. The owner of the dog heard of the death of his pet. Owner means that good old couple. They heard the death of their pet dog. Mourning for him. They were very, mourning means sad on the sorrow. They felt sorrow for his death, as if it has been, because they loved it as their own child. Went at night under the pine tree. The old man went in under the pine tree at night. He set up some bamboo tubes in the ground, and he put some bamboo tubes on the ground, such as are used before tombs, as we used tubes before the tombs also. You have seen, like Taj Mahal and Humayun tomb. Have you seen that? Yes, like that. He also put bamboo tubes before the tree, in which he put fresh flowers, and there he put the fresh flowers. Then he laid a cup of water. He put a cup of water and a tray of food on the grave, buried place. In that buried place where the dog was buried, he put some fresh flowers and a tray of food, and burned several costly sticks of incense. Costly sticks of incense means valuable, costly, expensive sticks of incense. Incense means incense means a stick of flavors. Agarbatti, we used in Hindi, na? Agarbatti, the stick of flavors. He mourned a great while over his pet, and he showed sorrow on his death, calling him many dear names, and again he's calling that pet with his dear names, as if it was alive. So it seems that how much the man loved his dog as his own child. That night the spirit of the dog appeared to him in a dream. Now at that night, the spirit means soul. Spirit means Atma, soul. The soul came to that man in his dream and said, "Cut down the pine tree over my grave and make from it mortar." The dog said to his master, cut down that pine tree from my grave and make it a mortar. Mortar means bowl, and make a bowl from it. From mortar bowl for your rice pastry and a mill for your beans. So you will make a bowl from that, and a rice pastry and a mill for your bean sauce. So the old man chopped down the tree. So hearing this, he cut down the tree and cut out the middle of the trunk. Middle of the trunk, beech mein se, the part, section, about 2 feet long. He cut the tree about 2 feet long, with great labor, with his hard work, because it takes hard work. It needs hard work to cut the tree. It is not an easy task. आसान नहीं है. Partly by fire, partly by chisel. So some part he cut from he cut by fire, jalakar, and partly by chisel. He scraped out a hollow place, and he scraped out the hollow place. The hollow place means hollow place, जो बीच का जो खाली जगह होती है, that is hollow. And he remove unwanted covering from that tree. Hollow place as big as a small boy, as big as a small ball, and it made it hollow so that it can become a bowl. It can take a shape of a bowl. He then made a long-handled hammer of wood. Then he made a hammer of wood. Wood का उसने क्या बनाया? He made a hammer. Hammer means with which we used to ham it. Ham it means पीटना है ना? Such as is used for pounding rice, and it was used for putting rice in it. When New Year's time drew near, when the New Year's time came near, he wished to make some rice pastry. Now he wanted to make a rice pastry. When the rice was all boiled, when all the rice was boiled, Granny put it into the mortar. The old woman, put that rice into the mortar, means my bowl. And the old man lifted his hammer to pound the mass into dough. Now he uses hammer to crush it, to beat it, and crush it and make it into a dough. Dough means atta. Gunda hua atta that we used to make chapatis from dough. And the blows fell heavy and fast till the pastry, and it was crushed fast till the pastry was all ready for baking. He crushed until it was made ready for the baking. Suddenly the whole mass turned into a heap of gold, and as they were doing this, the whole mass, सारा that mass जो था baking करने का, it turned into a heap of gold coins. It turned into a gold coins में change हो गया. When the old woman took the hand mill, chakki, and filling it with beans began to grind, and she started grinding it. The gold dropped like rain. The gold was dropping from it like a rain. बारिश की तरह गोल्ड के सिक्के गिरने लगे. Meanwhile, the envious neighbor peeped in at the window, and at the same time, envious means jealous. Envious means hatred, jealous. Neighbor, that old neighbor who were very greedy, they peeped into the window when the boiled beans were being ground. When the boiled beans were grinding, they saw from the window.